When I was a kid, I used to this is the question I used to ask myself when I would go to church. How do I connect with God? And at that time, I thought the only way that I can connect with God, the Most High, is reading my Bible and doing what the Bible tells me to do and, obeying my parents and so forth. But as I got older, I really took that question seriously because I know that I'm a spirit having a human experience. But at the same time, the only way I knew how to make connection when I was a newbie starting my spiritual journey is with another human because I am human. So if God is of everything, Alpha and Omega, the beginning, the end, like how do I connect with that? Like that was a real question for me. And I've come to the conclusion a few years back that connecting with God is connecting with myself and loving myself and learning how to do certain things by myself and let go of codependency issues. I feel like the trick was to make us believe that we needed to believe in something outside of ourselves to connect to God. And that's when I was lost. When I had that mindset, I was lost. I didn't know who I was because instead of focusing on myself and what's going on within and healing those past traumas, I was seeking for something outside of myself, but I didn't even know where to start. The biggest war that no one really talks about is the war that goes on in our mental, which is inside of us. I think that some of us get caught up in victim mode and we're so quick to blame everything outside of us because we, number one, don't want to take accountability because of those emotions that come with that. And maybe the self judgment that happens, especially for the ones that already judge themselves so harshly, the self judgment that happens that we don't feel like going through once we figure out, hey, everything is a reflection of what goes on inside of us. Because think about it, if you're in a relationship and you get cheated on and you break up, when you start dating again, you're gonna have that little voice like, oh, they gonna cheat like the last person, they may do something, whatever it was, that's gonna come up in your head again. So again, that's something that you have to heal within, because if you start dating this new person and you start acting in a manner as if they're probably going to cheat because whatever happened in the past, you feel like, oh, I need to protect myself because I don't want to go through what I went through in the last relationship. That's all an internal battle. That's nothing that you should blame on anybody outside of yourself. I think the big thing is taking accountability. And again, all of that is getting close to God. All of that is connecting with God. What if you were put in a room and you had nothing but yourself in that room? How would you connect with God? You don't have any tools as such as the Bible or, you know, whatever you use as a tool to connect to God. You don't have it in this room. You only have yourself. How would you connect to God? And the only way I can think of it is through the mind, your mental. How do you speak to yourself? How are you going to speak out loud? That's how you connect to God. If you don't have the Bible, if you don't have your crystals and your stones, like what way would you connect to God? And it's only through yourself. So the other thing that I started thinking about is, okay, if it's only through ourselves, then that means we need to take care of ourselves, love ourselves. Because how can I hate myself and then say I love God? And the only way you can do that is if you're looking at God as something that's separate from you, or if you're depending on an outside source to come and save you. And how long will you be waiting then? Because the way you can take your power and connect with God is to do it all within. And that's the hardest thing to do. I'm going to be honest. If you have to face your own reality, especially if it's a reality you feel you have no control of or that you hate and you don't like, it's going to show. But then if you don't face it, facing your fears, facing those trials and tribulations, those challenges, How can you say that you are creating a bond with God if you're running away from that?